Welcome to soulsearching.space, a space to remember who you truly are, who you came here to be, and what you came here to do. To be crystal clear, going from black and white thinking to full color HD, working from the inside out, reclaiming your power, waking up to your inherent wholeness, aligning soul, heart, mind, and body. Thank you for tuning in to another episode here on soulsearching.space. We are going to explore the topic of awareness. There's self-awareness, which is inward, and then there's awareness of others and environment, which is outward. Popular terms you might have heard: inward emotional intelligence, outward social intelligence. At their core, self-awareness, awareness of others, requires a certain quality of body and mind called the center. We'll explore the center in future episodes, so stay tuned, but the center is our true nature, our essence. The purpose of any true centering is simply to open the door and to remember and access the potential within us. We are going to use and explore a series of principles and practices like deep breathing, observing the mind, physical alignment, and more in upcoming episodes. All of these practices are important for centering and developing self-awareness skills. We make some choices consciously and we make some choices subconsciously. We can increase our awareness of our subconscious by deciding to be aware, by observing our thoughts, feelings, and sensations. We are observers with a body to experience our observations. There is more to us than our personality, our ego. Our essence and our ego are two sides of the same coin, and it is presence that restores the proper balance between them and allows us to embody our true nature. What are some of the blocks that stop us from being more self-aware? We came into the world as pure essence. We had our caretakers who already had their personalities very much in place. Perhaps since they could not hold space for the fullness of their own essence, they could not hold space for the fullness of our essence. These blocks and patterns they passed on may go back many generations. There's no blaming here. Everyone is doing and being the best they can with the level of awareness they have. We are wired for love and connection and to avoid rejection at all costs. Our caretakers unintentionally send us messages that we picked up about how to behave and how to be loved and how to be accepted. And we gradually came to believe that certain parts of us were not safe to be and safe to express to the world. So we gradually shut down parts of ourselves in order to be seen and accepted in certain ways. When we are identified with our personalities, our egos, we forget that there is so much more to us. At one time in our lives, in childhood, this response was adaptive and necessary. We had to identify with whatever qualities was necessary for our survival to find our place in the world. These patterns and behaviors are conditioning or things we learn because of the environment we grew up in. When our awareness becomes identified with the aspects of our personality, we lose contact with our true nature. Our attention and comfort zone shrinks. We lose touch with reality and we gradually move away from our true nature and more into personality and ego. We learn these patterns as normal and we repeat them as adults. The ego is highly automatic, but the ego is only automatic when we are not aware of it. If we are unaware, our subconscious will bring us back to old familiar patterns. Through awareness and by responding in new ways rather than habitually reacting, we can break these patterns. When we are operating from personality or ego, our attention is focused on imagination, looking to the future or towards the past, the ego is constantly in some kind of reaction to the present moment. When we are in essence, we are present, we are grounded and receptive to the moment. We see what is necessary and we are able to do it and be it without unnecessary effort or resistance. When we bring our awareness to the present moment, our awareness expands. Without integrating the unconscious, we can't have any true responsibility for ourselves. It's only by understanding ourselves deeply that we can begin taking responsibility for our thoughts, feelings, emotions, attitudes, patterns, behaviors, impulses, expressions, and more, that we can start moving toward our true nature. A major challenge that many people run into is that self-awareness requires a great deal of mental energy because the mind is addicted to stimulation. It's how it learns, but it's also how it distracts itself. So it always gets attached with thoughts and objects and feelings, which leaks our energy outward. These thoughts and feelings and emotions then influence our focus, our alignment. We might collapse our chest, which limits lung capacity, which then depletes our energy and energy systems. The mind changes the body and the body changes the mind. It's an ongoing cycle. One affects the other. The challenge is we think they don't. So how do we stop this leakage of energy and the mind's attraction to stimulation so we can cultivate awareness and become more present? First, start with the understanding that awareness is a skill. And like all skills, it can be developed through a conscious and deliberate repetition of specific actions and behaviors once we decide that it's important to us. We do this by bringing our awareness to all levels of self, but we need to do it gradually. We become aware of things we used to do subconsciously. We can do this by deciding to be aware, deciding to be mindful, observing our thoughts and actions, patterns and behaviors instead of doing things automatically. We must be willing and able to go beyond the ego to reach out to something more, to experience the parts of ourselves that have everything to do with our essence. At the same time, we must also be willing to experience the limitation and suffering that our egos are causing us. We can always choose something different, break the pattern. When we break the pattern is our moment of power. Because when the pattern is broken, there's choices at that moment. But if we don't break the pattern, we are depending on old patterns. When we continue to question our assumptions about ourselves and who we think we are, being willing to observe ourselves so we can stop repeating the unconscious patterns of the ego, self-awareness develops. We begin to observe more and more of the internal dynamics that were always taking place, but beneath the surface of our awareness. True understanding comes through observing and being curious and seeing layers of truth about how things really are. And when we understand our internal conflicts, we can cultivate greater self-awareness and self-regulation. By breaking the pattern, we are creating more space and we begin to observe our patterns more closely because there is now more space between us and our thoughts, emotions, feelings, attitude, patterns, behaviors, expressions, and more. This is the true key to cultivating self-awareness. When the mind is stable and the breath goes deep into the body, awareness becomes more spontaneous and we gain access to a great deal of information. The challenge is if we try to breathe or if we focus too intently on our breath, which most people do in the beginning, will create more mental tension, and this tension will move us further away from the center. That's why we bring our awareness to our breathing and casually observe the breath by allowing our awareness to absorb into the breath. Let's do this now if it's safe for you to do so. Can you place your awareness on your breath without trying to influence it directly? Can you place your awareness on your breath without trying to influencing it directly? When you feel your awareness go somewhere else, just gently place your awareness on your breath without trying to influence it directly. If you feel called, practice this for a week and see what happens. And the next week, we'll build another layer to this practice of moving towards the center. If you want to take this to the next level, bring your awareness to your mental, emotional, and physical state before, during, and after you apply this practice. Are you more present in your body? Is your mind calmer and more clearer when your awareness is in your body? Do you feel more like yourself? Notice any changes that take place during and after. Attention builds awareness. Awareness paves the way for transformation. But it is only through presence and awareness that transformation actually occurs. Remember, this process tends to be a slow unfolding, so allow it to happen on its own. Be kind and patient towards yourself. Stay open-minded and pay attention to what you are experiencing. How can you cultivate more self-awareness? Why do you want to cultivate more self-awareness? Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for your time and thank you for your presence. I look forward to being with you again. I am sending you so much love. And until next time, remember, we observe what we choose to observe.